Of course, yes.
Behind Hollywood's sparkle is a reality check no red carpet can hide. What happens when fame fades, the money vanishes, and even legendary turns into sleeping in the car? From teen idols to iconic stars, these stories are messy, shocking, and weirdly human. Buckle up. You won't recognize who hits rock bottom next. Number 1. Margot Kidder. Once upon a time, Margot Kidder didn't need saving. She was the woman standing next to Superman. As the sharp-tongued, fearless Lois Lane, she had Hollywood at her feet, fame in her pocket, and fans around the world convinced she had life all figured out. Spoiler alert, real life didn't follow the script. Behind the confident smile was a battle far more intense than anything in Metropolis. Margot struggled openly with bipolar disorder long before mental health was a conversation, not a headline. In the mid-1990s, that struggle exploded into a very public breakdown, and suddenly the woman who once flew alongside superheroes was couch surfing, relying on shelters, friends, and strangers just to get through the night. Talk about a plot twist no screenwriter would dare pitch. Hollywood, being Hollywood, quietly stepped back. The phone stopped ringing. The spotlight moved on. But Margot didn't disappear. She rebuilt herself piece by piece, taking smaller roles, speaking out about mental health, and proving that survival is its own kind of superpower. She never returned to blockbuster glory, but she gained something rarer: honesty, resilience, and a legacy that went far beyond spandex and special effects. Margot Kidder's story reminds us that even heroes fall, and sometimes getting back up is the bravest role of all. Number 2. Corey Haim. In the 1980s, Corey Haim wasn't just famous, he was everywhere. Movies, magazines, posters on bedroom walls, and a fan base that screamed his name like it was a survival instinct. Alongside Corey Feldman, he ruled the teen scene with hits like The Lost Boys, Lucas, and License to Drive. Life looked like one endless summer. Behind the scenes, total nightmare fuel. Fame came early, and so did temptation. Drugs entered his life before adulthood ever stood a chance. What started as Hollywood excess quickly became dependency, and dependency turned into a career killer. Roles dried up, money disappeared, and the once bankable teen heartthrob became a cautionary headline instead of a casting choice. Corey tried to claw his way back: reality shows, indie films, public pleas for help, but addiction doesn't care about nostalgia. His health deteriorated, finances collapsed, and the industry that once adored him watched from a safe distance. Being famous as a kid didn't make adulthood easier. It made it brutally unforgiving. In 2010, Corey Haim died at just 38 years old from pneumonia, with drugs contributing to his fragile condition. Fans were devastated, but not surprised. The warning signs had been flashing for years. Corey Haim's story is tragically ironic. He starred in vampire movies, yet fame slowly drained the life out of him. Hollywood made him a star and then left him to survive the darkness alone. Number 3. John Michael Vincent. In the 1970s, John Michael Vincent wasn't just famous, he was the guy. Rugged good looks, effortless charm, leading roles, and co-stars like John Wayne and Burt Reynolds. Hollywood loved him, fans wanted to be him, and studios paid him like he'd never age, never stumble, and never party too hard. Yeah, about that. Off-screen, Vincent treated life like an endless after-party. Alcohol, drugs, arrests, lawsuits, if it came with flashing lights, he found it. What started as wild Hollywood fun slowly turned into a demolition derby aimed directly at his career. Directors stopped calling, money vanished, and the former heartthrob found himself trading movie trailers for California sidewalks in the early 2000s. Imagine going from red carpets to wondering where your next meal is coming from. That was Vincent's reality. Addiction drained his finances, wrecked his health, and ultimately cost him his leg due to a severe infection. No stunt double, no second take, just consequences. Yet even at rock bottom, Vincent didn't fully surrender. He continued seeking help, trying to stay sober and reminding the world that behind the tabloid headlines was a deeply flawed human being, not a punchline. Jan Michael Vincent's life as a brutal Hollywood lesson fame doesn't expire quietly. Sometimes it crashes, burns, and leaves you standing in the wreckage, wondering how the leading man became a cautionary tale. Number 4. Erin Moran. For millions of Americans, Erin Moran was Joni Cunningham, the sweet, spunky little sister from Happy Days. She grew up on TV, charmed the nation, dated the cool guy Chachi, and basically looked like she was set for a lifetime of sitcom checks and nostalgia-fueled happiness. Cue the record scratch. When the show ended, so did Hollywood's interest. Turns out, being America's favorite kid sister doesn't automatically come with a retirement plan. As the spotlight faded, Erin's real-life struggles took center stage: unstable work, mounting bills, a messy divorce, and eventually a very public eviction that splashed her private pain all over the tabloids. From TV sets to couch surfing, not exactly the reboot fans were hoping for. Money problems piled up, opportunities dried out, and alcohol quietly became her co-star. The media loved the downfall narrative, but behind the headlines was a former child star trying to survive adulthood without a script, a safety net, or a laugh track to soften the blow. Erin Moran passed away in 2017 at just 56, leaving fans shocked and heartbroken. Her story is a bittersweet reminder that fame can be fast childhood. Stardom is fragile, and growing up on television doesn't mean the world is kind when the cameras shut off. Sometimes the hardest role comes after the final episode. Number 5. Leif Garrett. In the late 1970s, Leif Garrett was everywhere. Posters on bedroom walls, hit songs on the radio, screaming fans chasing him down the street, the full teen idol starter pack. He could sing, he could smile, and he looked like fame would never let him go. Unfortunately, fame didn't let him grow up either. Behind the glossy magazine covers, Leif was spiraling. Drugs entered the picture early and refused to leave. What started as youthful rebellion quickly turned into full-blown addiction, dragging his music career, finances, and reputation down with it. Legal troubles piled up, money disappeared, and the former heartthrob found himself flirting with homelessness, a shocking contrast to his once picture-perfect pop star life. Hollywood, always quick to celebrate, and even quicker to abandon, moved on. Comebacks where attempted rehab stints followed, and optimism kept getting sucker-punched by reality. At times, Leif wasn't fighting for chart positions anymore. He was fighting just to stay afloat. Today, Garrett's story isn't about hit singles or sold-out tours. It's about survival consequences and the long shadow fame can cast on someone who gets it too young and too fast. Funny, tragic, and painfully human, Leif Garrett proves that being everyone's crush at 17 doesn't mean life gives you a happy ending. Sometimes it just hands you a very hard lesson instead. Number 6. Dana Plato. Dana Plato once had the dream every kid secretly wants: instant fame, primetime TV, and America watching her grow up every week. As the lovable Kimberly on Different Strokes, she was part of a squeaky clean TV family that felt safer than real life. Sadly, real life doesn't end when the show does. When the sitcom wrapped, Hollywood slammed the door. Adult roles were scarce, money ran dry, and the former child star was left navigating fame's aftermath without a map or a support system. Drugs crept in, bad decisions followed, and tabloids replaced fan mail. Arrests, court dates, and financial chaos became her new reruns. At her lowest point, Dana wasn't signing autographs, she was struggling to keep a roof over her head. Homelessness, addiction, and isolation swallowed the girl millions once adored. Attempts at comebacks and recovery flickered briefly, but the cycle proved brutally hard to break. In 1999, Dana Plato's story ended tragically at just 34 years old. What was once reported as an accident was later ruled a suicide, sealing her legacy as one of Hollywood's most painful cautionary tales. Her life is a stark reminder that child stardom comes with no safety net, and when the laughter fades, the silence can be deadly. Number 7. Mindy McCready. In the mid-1990s, Mindy McCready sounded like country music's next forever star. Big voice, emotional lyrics, hit songs blasting from every pickup truck radio she had Nashville convinced she was unstoppable. But behind the powerhouse vocals was a life spinning wildly out of tune. Fame arrived fast, and chaos followed faster. Mindy's world became a messy mix of toxic relationships, legal trouble, arrests, rehab stints, and tabloid headlines that read more like crime reports than music reviews. One minute she was topping charts, the next she was fighting custody battles and probation violations. The hits stopped coming, the money dried up, and stability became a foreign concept. At her lowest points, Mindy wasn't chasing Grammys, she was chasing survival. Addiction took the driver's seat, dragging her career, reputation, and mental health off a cliff. Comebacks were announced, hopes were raised, and then reality hit like a steel guitar to the face. In 2013, her story ended in tragedy at just 37 years old. Mindy McCready's life remains one of country music's most heartbreaking cautionary tales, proof that talent alone can't save you, fame doesn't heal pain, and sometimes the saddest songs are the ones never meant to be written. Number 8. Loni Willison. Once upon a time, Loni Willison was living the classic Hollywood dream. Modeling gigs, TV appearances on shows like Baywatch, red carpets, cameras flashing, the kind of life people assume comes with permanent sunshine and unlimited money. Plot twist, it didn't. When her high-profile marriage collapsed, life followed suit. Divorce, legal stress, and emotional chaos hit fast and hard. Hollywood, as usual, didn't send flowers or a therapist, it sent silence. Work dried up, stability vanished, and Loni slowly slipped from celebrity headlines into something far less glamorous, survival mode. By 2015, the former model was spotted pushing a shopping cart through the streets of Los Angeles, looking almost unrecognizable from her TV days. Add physical health issues to the mix, and suddenly just get another job wasn't an option. No makeup trailer, no script, just sidewalks, shelters, and the daily challenge of getting through another night. What makes Loni's story unsettling isn't just the fall, it's how fast it happened. One minute you're a symbol of California glamour, the next you're proof that fame has an expiration date and zero refunds. Her journey is a brutal reminder that homelessness doesn't discriminate. Not by looks, not by talent, not by past success. And sometimes Hollywood's most shocking role is the one no one auditions for. Number 9. David Cassidy. In the 1970s, David Cassidy wasn't just famous, he was poster on the wall famous. As Keith Partridge, he sang, smiled, and accidentally caused mass hysteria among teenagers worldwide. Hit songs, screaming fans, sold-out tours, life looked like one long encore. Behind the curtain, total chaos. The pressure to stay perfect slowly crushed him. Fame came early, adulthood came hard, and alcohol became his unofficial bandmate. While fans thought the Partridge bus never stopped rolling, David was quietly bleeding money, burning bridges and battling addiction. The hits faded, the checks bounced, and the fairy tale unraveled fast. By 2010, the former teen dream was living a nightmare. Bankruptcy hit, eviction followed, and David found himself sleeping in his car in Florida, a jaw-dropping downgrade from sold-out arenas. Imagine going from "I think I love you" to "I think I need gas money." That's not a lyric, that was real life. To his credit, David didn't sugarcoat it. He openly admitted the shame, the regret, and the brutal truth that fame doesn't come with emotional armor or financial wisdom. His story isn't just tragic, it's painfully human. David Cassidy passed away in 2017, leaving behind unforgettable music and a sobering lesson: being adored by millions doesn't mean you're protected from yourself. Sometimes the loudest applause hides the quietest breakdown. Number 10. MC Hammer. At one point, MC Hammer wasn't just rich, he was unreasonably rich. Baggy pants, non-stop hits, and a bank account screaming, "You can't tax this." Hammer ruled the late 80s and early 90s, pulling in millions, and living like money was a renewable resource. Spoiler, it wasn't. At his peak, Hammer earned tens of millions a year and spent it even faster. Mansions, luxury cars, private jets, and an entourage so big it needed its own zip code. If you smiled at Hammer, you were probably on payroll. Unfortunately, the IRS doesn't dance, and they definitely don't moonwalk past unpaid taxes. By the mid-1990s, the music slowed, the bills didn't, and reality hit harder than any bass drop. Lawsuits piled up, debts exploded, and Hammer filed for bankruptcy, owing millions. His massive California mansion was eventually foreclosed, and iconic Hammer pants were auctioned off like museum artifacts from a very expensive mistake. But here's the twist: Hammer didn't disappear. He pivoted. Smaller music projects, business ventures, tech investments, ministry work. The man reinvented himself without pretending the fall never happened. No fake comeback, no denial, just lessons learned the hard way. MC Hammer's story proves one brutal truth: fame can make you rich overnight, but bad decisions can make you broke even faster. Still, if falling flat is inevitable, at least do it in legendary pants and get back up smarter. Number 11. Willie Aames. In the late 70s and early 80s, Willie Aames looked like he had life on cheat mode. Clean-cut smile, hit TV shows, teenage fans, the perfect all-American star. Hollywood framed him as the guy who had it all figured out. Reality check, he absolutely did not. When the roles slowed down, the pressure cranked up. Fame faded, frustration kicked in, and Willie turned to drugs and alcohol to fill the silence left by applause. Bad move. Arrests followed, money vanished, and one by one the safety nets snapped. By 2007, the former teen idol hit a level of irony. Hollywood couldn't script he was homeless, living on the streets of Vancouver, far removed from studio lights and sitcom laugh tracks. Rock bottom isn't glamorous. It's cold, humiliating, and brutally honest. But instead of disappearing, Willie did something unexpected. He asked for help. Shelters, AA meetings, and a community that didn't care about his IMDb credits helped him rebuild from scratch, not as a star, but as a human being. Today, Willie Aames isn't chasing fame. He's sharing survival. As a counselor, motivational speaker, and author, he tells his story without filters or excuses. His life proves that losing everything doesn't have to be the end. Sometimes, it's the moment the real comeback finally begins. Number 12. Natasha Lyonne. Natasha Lyonne's life reads less like a biography and more like a very chaotic indie film, gritty, funny, uncomfortable, and somehow brilliant. As a kid, She was everywhere, movies, TV, that unmistakable raspy voice and attitude that screamed future star. And then, everything went sideways. By her early 20s, fame mixed badly with addiction. Drugs, arrests, rehab, repeat. Hollywood didn't see troubled genius, it saw liability. Roles disappeared, money followed. And in 2005, Natasha hit a level of realism. Red carpet prepares you for homelessness on the streets of New York City. Yes, an actual actress, actually sleeping rough. No trailer, no glam, just survival. Rock bottom came with hospitalizations and a brutal wake-up call, either change or don't make it. Natasha chose option 3, rebuild with sarcasm intact. Through AA meetings, support networks, and sheer stubborn will she clawed her way back, one small role at a time. No overnight comeback, no fairy tale, just grit. Then came the plot twist: Hollywood loves Orange is the New Black, followed by Russian Doll. Suddenly, the girl everyone counted out was the one writing, starring, and running the show. Natasha Lyonne's story proves one thing: sometimes as you don't bounce back, you crawl, swear, laugh, and drag yourself forward until success finally catches up. Number 13. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye didn't just sing hits, he soundtracked history. With velvet vocals and soul-deep lyrics, he turned love, pain, politics, and prayer into chart-topping poetry. From What's Going On to Sexual Healing, Marvin wasn't just a star, he was untouchable. Or so it seemed. Behind the smooth voice was a life in constant chaos. Fame came fast, money came faster, and problems arrived first class. Drug addiction, toxic relationships. Brutal family conflict and financial disasters turned Marvin's life into a non-stop emotional remix. At times, the man who defined Motown elegance was broke, unstable, and bouncing between couches, friends, and temporary escapes, proof that even legends can lose their footing. Marvin didn't just battle the industry, he battled himself. Paranoia, fear, and inner demons followed him everywhere, no matter how loud the applause was. And in the cruelest plot twist imaginable, his life ended not on stage but at home, fatally shot by his own father, just one day before his 45th birthday. It's a story so tragic, it almost feels unreal. Marvin Gaye gave the world healing music, but never found enough healing for himself. His legacy lives forever, a reminder that genius doesn't come with protection, and even the smoothest voices can hide the loudest pain. Number 14. Lisa Robin Kelly. Lisa Robin Kelly burst into pop culture like a firecracker. As Lori Foreman on that 70s show, she was loud, wild, sarcastic, and effortlessly cool, the kind of TV sister who stole scenes and made trouble look fun. Viewers laughed. Hollywood cheered. Behind the scenes, not so funny. As the show skyrocketed, Lisa's personal life quietly unraveled. Addiction crept in, then took over the steering wheel. Arrests for DUI, assault charges, rehab stints. Her real-life storyline became darker than any sitcom subplot. Producers grew nervous, opportunities vanished, and the once-beloved party girl found herself partying alone with consequences instead of punchlines. Hollywood doesn't wait for recovery arcs. Once labeled difficult, the phone stopped ringing. Lisa tried to regain control, insisting she was sober and ready to work, but her reputation arrived before she did. Fame that once protected her now magnified every misstep. In 2013, her story ended suddenly and tragically at just 43 years old due to multiple drug intoxication. Fans were stunned, left remembering the sharp wit and fearless energy she brought to the screen and mourning the life she never got the chance to rebuild. Lisa Robin Kelly's story is a brutal reminder that playing the wild one is easy. Surviving the aftermath, that's the role Hollywood rarely teaches you how to play. Number 15. Wesley Snipes. In the 1990s, Wesley Snipes was untouchable, literally. He kicked, flipped, and sliced his way through Hollywood as one of the coolest action stars on the planet. From New Jack City to Blade, Snipes wasn't just acting tough, he was tough. Sadly, there was one villain he couldn't roundhouse kick out of the script: the IRS. At the height of his fame, Snipes decided taxes were optional. Bold choice. Very bold. While audiences lined up for movie tickets, federal investigators lined up paperwork. The result, a courtroom drama no agent could spin into a franchise. In 2008, Snipes was convicted of tax evasion and sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. From vampire hunter to inmate, talk about a genre switch. Prison didn't end him, though. Instead of sulking, Snipes studied acting writing and waited out his sentence like a man plotting a sequel. When he was released in 2013, Hollywood welcomed him back cautiously. The paychecks were smaller, the spotlight dimmer, but the man was still standing. Wesley Snipes' story proves that fame won't save you from math. The government always gets a cameo, and even action heroes have to follow real-world rules. Still surviving prison and returning to Hollywood. That's a comeback arc even Blade would respect. Number 16. Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid once lived the dream actor's chase forever. Serious roles, critical acclaim, and comedy classics that made him unforgettable. He wasn't just famous, he was respected. Then somewhere between success and sanity, the script went completely off the rails. Randy and his wife didn't just fall into trouble, they cannonballed into it. Arrests, lawsuits, accusations of squatting, and a bizarre belief that shadowy Hollywood star whackers were hunting them for profit. Yes, that's a real phrase. Hollywood conspiracy theories replaced casting calls, and court dates replaced premieres. The couple bounced between legal battles and countries, even fleeing to Canada, in what felt less like a vacation and more like a low-budget thriller. Instead of red carpets, Randy was dealing with warrants, media mockery, and serious questions about mental health. The industry that once celebrated him now watched in confusion. What makes Randy Quaid's story unsettling isn't just the chaos, it's the speed. One minute you're an award-nominated actor, the next you're trending for reasons that make everyone uncomfortable. There were moments of financial collapse, instability, and effectively living on the run rather than living the Hollywood life. Randy Quaid's saga is proof that fame doesn't always fade quietly. Sometimes it unravels loudly, strangely, and in full public view, reminding us that losing the plot can be far scarier than losing the spotlight. Number 17. John Drew Barrymore. Born into the legendary Barrymore dynasty, John Drew Barrymore should have had Hollywood on autopilot. Famous last name, check. Movie roles, check. Instant credibility, absolutely. Unfortunately, talent runs in families, but so do bad habits. While the Barrymore name opened doors, John seemed determined to slam them shut himself. Addiction became his constant co-star, followed closely by arrests, court dates, and tabloid headlines that read less like film reviews and more like police reports. Directors saw risk, studios saw chaos, and John saw yet another reason to self-destruct. Trying to escape the shadow of his famous relatives only made things worse. Instead of carving out his own legacy, John became known as the problem. Barrymore, a title nobody auditions for. Money disappeared, relationships imploded, and steady work became a distant memory. Hollywood royalty doesn't mean much when you keep getting escorted out by security. While his daughter Drew Barrymore would later rewrite the family narrative with her own comeback story, John never fully found his way out of the spiral. His life remained a mix of unrealized potential and hard-earned regret until his death in 2004. John Drew Barrymore's story is proof that fame by inheritance is still no protection. In Hollywood, a famous name can open the door, but staying inside requires discipline, stability, and showing up sober. Number 18. Danny Bonaduce. Danny Bonaduce grew up on America's TV screens as the lovable red-headed kid in the Partridge Family. Cute, funny, famous, before he could legally drive the kind of childhood that screams easy life ahead, right? Wrong. Very wrong. Once the cameras shut off, real life hit Danny like a drum solo with no rhythm. Fame faded, money slipped through his fingers, and addiction showed up uninvited, then refused to leave. Drugs, alcohol, arrests, messy relationships, and tabloid headlines became his new co-stars. The former sitcom star went from studio lights to bankruptcy papers, and at his lowest point, even homelessness entered the script. Hollywood wasn't exactly lining up to rescue him. Childhood fame didn't come with adult coping skills, and Danny paid the price in full public view. But here's where the plot twists. Unlike many cautionary tales, Danny didn't disappear. After rehab, hard lessons, and a lot of humility, he clawed his way back. Radio became his second act. Self-awareness replaced self-destruction, and honesty became his brand. No pretending it never happened, just owning it.